Hi, I'm Micki,
Hi, I'm Kat.
and we're Cat and Mouse Astrology. Welcome to the full moon in Libra. Ah, balanced Libra.
I love the full moon in Libra.
It's a great placement. It's a great placement to have a culmination of emotions in a place of balance, or a place where we're seeking balance
In the fiery season of Aries.
in the fiery season of Aries. That's right, a little passion. Yeah, it's an interesting axis, the Libra Aries axis.
Mm-hmm.
We both play on that axis.
We do. We're opposite each other on that axis. Yeah.
Right. So, because I'm ascendant Libra and you're ascendant Aries.
Right.
So it's fun because we reflect to each other things, I think.
Right.
Right. It's kind of cool. It's always a little interesting for perspective too.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes us a good team because we round it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a pretty cool moon. Let me pull up the chart and let's take a look at this. So I kind of started off with this full moon requires a letting go. That's because we've got Pluto in a loose but actual forming square, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So maybe a sacrifice needs to be made in order to balance the square, in order to balance the scales here.
Mm-hmm.
Make this a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller. Is that good?
Yeah, I like it.
But we've also got a couple sextiles. So that shows perhaps that there's time and energy to move a goal forward, because these sextiles are with Mars and Saturn and Uranus. Yeah, Mars and Saturn and Uranus. So we've got some, or sorry, Mars and Saturn and the Sun and Uranus and Venus. Those are our sextiles.
Right.
So we got some pretty stuff, pretty powerful stuff.
Nice supportive stuff.
Nice supportive stuff. Exactly. So what do you think of our symbolism here for the 26 degrees for the moon and this and the sun?
Let me get it. 26 Aries for the sun. A man possessed of more gifts than he can hold.
That's pretty cool.
That's like abundance and
That's
blessing.
abundance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the moon, 26 Libra, an eagle and a large white dove turning into each other.
That's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you come back to it because I cannot help but look at the world events, but I'm trying to force myself to get to the personal stuff first, because how does this impact us in our personal lives, especially you, a sun in Aries?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sun in Leo, ascendant Aries. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but you're ascended in Aries. There's still,
right.
And anybody with heavy Aries placement right now, anybody with planets in Aries is going to have an impact from this moon.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would think that I like the Libra symbolism, the eagle and the dove and the turning into each other. So it brings an element of change in the form of shape-shifting, but it doesn't have to be shape-shifting, it can just be change. With maybe some dynamics between power and peace. And I don't mean power as in like domination. I mean like your own personal power, and peace as in maybe like in a centered kind of way. I think it's a full moon that could be like being centered in your own power.
Yeah, that's good. Centered in your own power. The strength of the heart chakra.
Yeah. Acknowledging all your gifts, accepting all of your gifts.
And that change is also reflected with the Venus-Uranus sextile.
Okay, let's talk about those. Let's see. Where's my Venus? Venus 12 Pisces, is that accurate? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, 12 Pisces, an examination of initiates in the sanctuary of an occult brotherhood.
We'll read that one another time.
An examination of initiates in the sanctuary of an occult brotherhood. So that speaks to trials, some sort of testing, in the realm of spirituality is what Venus is bringing in.
Yeah, and Venus is now free from the malefics in a sign that she loves. Venus loves being in Pisces. She's approaching Neptune and Jupiter, so she's at the height of, she's reaching a culmination and a height of her power.
Right.
She's left the negative stuff. She's flying free, and
Right.
this, configuration, this sextile represents, an ease towards something we want in the form of Venus. It doesn't mean that it's without work.
Right.
So that it may be something that one has to put some effort towards to achieve. But if one puts some effort towards some goal or something one loves or something, one wants to beautify in this Piscean area, this watery area, then one can possibly find the change that they want because of that nice configuration with Uranus.
Mm-hmm. And Uranus's degree at 13 Taurus is a porter carrying heavy baggage. So there is that work ethic going on, but Uranus is carrying the load. So whatever Venus is trying to do in Pisces for you to make your life better and beautiful and wonderful, Uranus, rather than like in its power and ability to change things, is not being, it's what it can sometimes be of the like disruptor. It's acting more as the like support system.
Right. Yeah, good point. It's carrying the baggage.
Carrying the load. Yeah.
That's right. Here we need to make a change. And Uranus, as you say, is pulling the weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally pulling the weight.
Right.
So that we can move with ease towards our goal with some effort, with some Venusian, Piscean effort.
Yeah.
So what do we see that Pisces is representing there? Venus is in the water. She likes swimming.
Yeah.
She likes to swim. This is also an ending, the sign of endings, sign of spirituality.
Right.
Full moon is a culmination. So maybe it's an end of a long effort towards something, end of working towards something for maybe even for a while, as we look at the sextile with Saturn, time's involved in this. Some beautiful effort that has been made for some period of time.
Right. Like a culmination of a flow.
A culmination of what?
Of a flow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So like some sort of transition, because you've got a porter, if you're carrying baggage, you're going somewhere, you're on some sort of trip, transporting things. And Venus is in Pisces. I think it's a culmination of some sort of flow that's been in the works.
Right. What our desires are, and moving our desires forward in a way to get a change that we are pursuing.
Yeah.
I mean, with Venus now in the pursuing, but she's not retrograde. She's free of malefics. She's moving forward in the sign that she loves to be in. Whatever's going on in whatever house you have Pisces, I would say that would be a good opportunity to put some work or some effort, or at least some maybe spiritual contemplation towards. Doesn't necessarily have to be work and effort. It could just be, putting your intentions towards what you want in that Piscean area of your life.
Some sort of water ritual.
Yeah.
Would be a really good thing to do right now for this full moon.
That's a great idea.
Some sort of water blessing. And then maybe pour it into the ground so that it soaks into the stability of the earth, where Mercury and Taurus, or Mercury and Uranus are together. Right. So that there can be a possibility for, telling us in the future about what changed. Yeah. Now there's, we look at Venus just left Saturn, Mars. She just left that enclosure between Saturn and Mars, and now she's free, waving behind. Bye, fellas. Bye, fellas. Though Saturn is sometimes seen as female rather than male, but whatever.
Mars is a pretty typical male sign, and depending on its placement in your chart, having Mars right there entering Pisces is interesting in how it might impact our desires and the energy we're able to put towards our desires.
Yeah, because Mars isn't super happy in Pisces.
Yeah, Mars is there's, I see this in two different ways visually. The first thing I see is like a fireball hitting the water, leaving a trail of steam.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it could create, especially with the Neptune, the bigger Neptunian, we've got this, Neptune Jupiter conjunction. So we've got big fog.
Yeah.
Which could make it very difficult to see. You might need to use sonar, right? You might need to think about a different way of proceeding. And that's where we get into the spirituality again.
Right.
Maybe, realize that, you may be blind in certain areas. So you have to see with your hands, as an example. But I also see Mars in a much more positive way, though it doesn't, neither of these negate the other, they're just possibilities. But Mars is like an athlete. So when I see Mars and Pisces, I think of a swim meet.
Oh.
There's the athlete diving into the water, swimming powerfully underwater. Now it's different than running.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing. If you've exercised in the water, if you try and run in the water, let's just make it running, not swimming for a minute. It's very different than running on land.
Right.
So
Right.
Mars is not able to, to run like Mars would in Aries and will in Aries soon.
Yeah.
But Mars can swim. Mars can do Venus's bidding. Mars can be where we put our effort, which is it's the effort that's necessary with a sextile to make the change that we're after. So I see that Mars in a strange way as being sort of a helper to Venus.
Yeah. Oh, and Mars is in an almost exact trine to the black moon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Mars is going to
fascinating.
have to, Mars in Pisces is going to have to use some of its different gifts as it transits that aspect, that portion of the chart. But it's got a nice supportive kickstart from the black moon.
Exactly. With maybe some of that pent up energy that hasn't yet been released, that can help Mars move forward through the water to assist Venus in making a change.
Right. Here's the degrees of that. Mars at 1 Pisces is a crowded public market, which I see as like, and more of that, like you need to use different senses than maybe you're used to, like a cacophony of input from like all the people and all the sounds and all the smells. Like there's just a lot going on and it might be a little overwhelming. So you've got to adjust how you're used to working.
Good point. Right.
Especially in these times where we haven't been in crowded public markets.
Yeah, having good sense here. We just had some negative situations at a crowded public market.
Yeah.
So that's kind of reflective, unfortunately, of, that's a Martian quality,
Right.
doing that kind of thing, especially when it involves black moon.
Yeah.
Maybe an ease towards Martian activities in the public market, which not all are great.
So the black moon is in an awkward position at 0 degrees Cancer. And the way the Sabians work, there are no zeros in the Sabians. So you have to look at either 1 Cancer or 30 Gemini. And it lines up a little bit better if you look at 30 Gemini, because that is a crowded beach. more descriptively, it is a parade of bathing beauties on a crowded beach. It's pretty
Interesting.
fun.
That's interesting. And Black Moon is, sorry, go ahead.
Well, if you want to go ahead first, because I was going to go to 1 degrees Cancer. If you want to comment on.
No, do 1 degrees Cancer first.
Okay. 1 degree Cancer is on a ship, the sailors lower an old flag and raise a new one.
Both interesting.
Both interesting.
But I think you're right that the 30 seems to fit our Martian degree with the crowds in a marketplace sort of symbolism. But what strikes me is that the base of the chart has a meaning of its own. And that meaning is very similar to the meaning of Black Moon, Lilith.
Yeah.
Right? The base of the chart represents the deep roots that we carry, ancestral roots. This could be genetic roots. This could be emotional roots. This could be, as we carry things, like, through time, ideals, traditions, good and bad. Right? So Black Moon in that particular spot seems to be a triggering place for Black Moon Lilith.
Yeah.
I mean, she's at home there. She's deeply at home there.
Yeah.
And her actions there, yeah, I could see that with Mars having really had an impact on what we just saw with that shooting in the subway.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be negative in our personal lives. And again, I see, that could be a way of positively using the energy, our emotional energy, passion from the depths of our souls to get what we want, Venus, to make a change that we want.
Right.
This could be very helpful for people who are creators.
Yeah.
Especially
getting
with
creations into the public, because you're possessed of more gifts than you can carry.
Right. And especially with
hand them over to the porter carrying the baggage and take them into the public.
Exactly. This could actually result in physical expression.
Yeah.
In positive as well as negative ways. In a positive way for a creator, an artist, an author, anybody who's putting out something that took them effort to create. This might actually be a very interesting configuration to help move that forward. Because when people create, they create from the depths of their soul.
Yeah.
And I do see this as different than the 12th house. There are overlapping meanings with the 12th house, with Pluto, with Black Moon Lilith, but there's also a distinction.
Yeah.
And at the base of the chart, I think it's really more of this ancestral foundation and those things that are opposite what we think of as the 4th house, as as where we are out in the world. The very opposite of that.
Yeah.
Where we are in our homes and sometimes in the depths of our consciousness or our subconsciousness.
Right.
So that in this configuration with Mars, I think lends some real power. Again, not saying whether it's good or bad, it lends real power to Venus and Pisces maybe making a change that is necessary.
Yeah, I think so. And because this is a full moon, we tend to look at the energetics of this timestamp as carrying and influencing the next 6 months. Correct?
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk. Sorry, I stopped our share for a second.
That's good.
Let's talk a little bit about that long-term influence, because we're also entering eclipse season.
Oh, I hadn't realized that.
So our first eclipse is the new moon coming up in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that's going to be configured with Uranus.
And Taurus. Cool. That's going to be good.
So this change that we see is building, that Venus is facilitating with the sextile that has that power behind it. It's likely that, we're not going to actually see the change, but the real trigger for the change could be in a couple of weeks, within the next couple of weeks. The rule of thumb with an eclipse is the month prior to the eclipse and up to like 6 months after the eclipse.
Yeah. And in that time, Venus is going to transit Jupiter and Neptune.
Right. At the end of the month, the very end of the month, with that eclipse, we'll see the culmination. We'll see all three of the benefics together.
It's going to be so good.
I'm calling Neptune a benefic here too, because Rick Levine thinks that Neptune is the higher octave of Jupiter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I can see that.
Jupiter is like a big balloon. It expands everything, and it can blow up and blow up and blow up right to Saturn, and that's it. Saturn pops Jupiter's balloon.
Ah.
And Neptune, an outer planet, is the Jupiterian, same sort of Jupiterian vibe in a lot of ways, but beyond Saturn, without the limits of Saturn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's where it gets so dreamy and delusional.
Right. Exactly.
It's broken free from Saturn's restrictions.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when Venus comes up on both Jupiter and Neptune, you can dream really big.
Really big. Yeah. And again, for those creators out there, people just creating, their dreams, wanting their dreams to come true. This is a real opportunity to put a positive foot forward in something you really want to do. And again, it may be in your imagination.
Yeah.
That, the work is being done. Because you have to imagine it before it can
Mars
exist.
and the Black Moon working together, and this trine configuration as supportive persons to whatever Venus is doing with Jupiter and Neptune.
Right. This is a trine that allows some ease.
Yeah.
So this could be really a moment of transformation where we look back and later, this fall, for example, and go, wow, last spring really brought some changes into my life.
Yeah, really set the stage for moving forward, especially because we also have Uranus and Mercury and the North Node all in Taurus. So whatever these changes are could result in like this really, really practical manifestations. Even if what we're thinking about changing or altering or moving forward in our life are more like intellectual or spiritual or psychological, with those other three in Taurus, it becomes a very grounded thing, especially with the North Node in Taurus.
Exactly. And it's interesting because we talked about this before about Mars and Saturn conjunct, which we just had, has signified over the past couple years. The conjunction and the squares and the opposition have shown the times where we've had increases in COVID, different COVID variants coming along, and Neptune diffuses things. Jupiter makes things bigger, but Venus and all these moving into a positive signification with Uranus.
Yeah.
One of the things that they're talking a lot about now are the new drug treatments that seem to work, and that they're making more of them, so that if somebody gets COVID now, if they call their doctor right away, they may be able to take one of the new antivirals. I don't know about these drugs, so I won't even give them a name. Whatever the new drugs are, and prevent serious illness. So that even as we may have an increase in sickness, we don't have an increase in hospitalizations. That's a big game changer for what we've been going through the last couple of years.
It's true. Yeah.
So, that'll be a big relief for all those, not just healthcare workers, but, all those support people. So,
and all those people's livelihoods take place in the public markets.
Right. So, and of course, this is, I'm not using astrology predictively here, but I could see that we might look back, and hopefully the change that we might see in the fall, looking back at this time, is, that's when we got a handle on the disease through those Taurian things.
Yeah.
Those practical earth-like things that we can do, like medicines. So I don't know. Kind of interesting. Should we look again at the chart one more time?
Yeah, I think we still need to talk about the T-square.
Right.
Let's show them the T-square, but then let's get off of our screen again.
Okay. So yeah, we've got Pluto and the moon and the sun, 28 degrees, 26. Within 5 degrees, it's a square. Within 3 degrees, no astrologer is going to argue about this. So we've got a T-square, and it's a powerful change that we look at. You know, a square represents a, you know, maybe an opportunity to change a corner, to turn a corner. I put some more description down here too. You know, we've got pressure, if you will. And I often picture a wheel with, or like a wagon with square wheels when I think of a square, because you're moving, but that movement is hampered by the shape of the wheel. You know, you're turning a corner, but that turning of the corner is a challenge. So, you know, just in looking at in general at the meaning of these symbols, the what's the language I want to use here? Just their overall feeling. With the moon, we've got the emotion. In Virgo, we've got a really practical, you know, this isn't emotion flying off the handle. This is controlled emotion.
In Libra.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we have controlled Libra and emotion and balance. Right?
Yeah.
Or at least an attempt to balance the emotions. The sun is reflecting that. And in Aries, we're getting this sense of, and that's isn't showing Aries, it's showing where the Libra part of it there, but we're getting a new beginning, or we're getting a fresh start, or we're getting that Martian energy involved in that as well.
Right.
So, you know, Pluto gives us the transformation opportunity, the rebirth opportunity, bringing something out. So maybe one thing here, especially with all that water, is how can you change your state of mind?
Yes. Yes.
So, and then you read those symbols, which were pretty lovely.
Yeah.
Let's
take off the share and we'll go back to the symbols.
Okay. Yeah.
So just to refresh, the sun at 26 Aries, a man possessed of more gifts than he can hold. The moon at 26 Libra, an eagle and a large white dove turning into each other. And then Capricorn at 28, or Pluto at 28 Capricorn, I have a large aviary.
Right.
So we've got birds. It's a birds thing, which is like, might be that mind thing, you know, an intellect thing. Like where is our focus in our intellect and our intelligence and our knowledge? Or just psychologically, like where are our thought processes going?
Right.
That might be the change that's happening, a change in your thought patterns, which can be really fucking hard to do, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Changing your mind, you know, you can change your mind all of a sudden, but usually it's a whole bunch of stuff is built up. So it's really not all of a sudden when you change your mind.
Right.
It's all at once when it's built up to a point where you flip over.
Edge, you know, like trying to turn that square wheel.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Like when you finally get enough effort to pull the wheel forward,
right,
then it's gonna make that change.
Right.
So here's where I can't.
An interesting symbol in terms of the crowds to have, and to have like the crowded marketplace, the crowded beach, and an aviary, which is crowded with birds. So this like mass gathering, there's a mass gathering underneath all of the symbolism with this full moon.
Yeah, and this is where I've avoided it before, but this is where I can't help but go geopolitical. Because, you know, we've got, read the symbol for the sun again.
A man possessed of more gifts than he can hold.
Somebody bit off more than they could chew.
Okay, yeah.
Isn't that also a meaning there? Somebody bit
Yeah,
off
yeah.
more than they could chew. And then read the moon.
Yeah. Or grabbed more than they should have.
Exactly. And so, and then, and what is the sun, the moon again in Libra? Balance.
An eagle and a large white dove turning into each other.
Yeah. So, you know, we've often talked, you and I personally, and on this podcast or whatever, that, you know, it's the United States and America in general does not necessarily, let's say it this way, the United States, as we behave, does not represent the ideal of America that we would often like it to, or that people want it to. And so it's and so I find that symbolism interesting, because it seems to me like those two contradictions may be joining in a way to deal with somebody who's bit off more than they can chew or grabbed more than they can hold. So that this may be one of those positive times in history where some people get together on the side of let's do what's right and do something. So there, I mean, what's the Pluto symbol again? What's that?
A large aviary.
The large aviary. And to me, again, when I go geopolitical, we're now talking about more than 5 million refugees.
Oh.
And that does not include the Russians, the hundreds of thousands of Russians who have fled and or who have been jailed for protesting in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So we are talking about a very large flock of birds.
Oh, yeah.
And when you get that many birds flying, you know, heads turn. People start to pay attention to what's going on. And, you know, then you, again, it reaches the square wheel will turn. There's going to be enough pressure to make that square wheel turn. What direction's it going to turn in? What's going to happen? I don't know. I don't like to think about the Neptunian dispersion symbolism very much, because there are other ways that things could go. But there is a, where's Mercury?
Mercury is with Uranus.
Yeah, Mercury's with Uranus.
And its degree is a woman sprinkling flowers. Yeah.
Talk could change things. And that's personal as well as political. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk could change things. So, anyway, there's my going political.
Yeah.
What else do we see in this? Shall I pull it up one more time? I don't know if I saw much else in here.
No, Chiron is still at 13 Aries, where the bomb failed to go off and has been safely dealt with.
Right. And 23 Aquarius is where we had the big bear before, when Mars was on it, and now it's Saturn on that spot.
Right.
And this again symbolizes to me Russia. Russia's the bear.
Look at me waving my paws.
Look at me waving my paws. Yeah.
Like a circus animal.
Like a circus animal. Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's that the Taurian stellium.
Yeah.
Sort of a stellium. It's got the node there, but we've got the Mercury and Uranus talking about some kind of a change, and the ease, because we've got a trine with Venus to help us accomplish this goal that we want, this beautiful goal that we want. And that beautiful goal may be peace.
Yeah.
In the outer world, and maybe peace in the inner world as well, in our personal lives.
Both and.
Both and. I don't know. I don't think I have anything to add to this one.
I don't either. I think it's going to be a lovely weekend. And let's sprinkle some flowers like Mercury suggests.
Go to a swim meet.
Go to a swim meet.
Go to a swim meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good way to get out some energy, or participate in a swim meet.
Go to an outdoor market.
Safely? Not sure about that one. Well, we do
I
have
did the
a,
outdoor market last Saturday. It was nice. It was like you're outside, you don't have to get real close.
yeah. No, it's nice to have the gathering as represented by the outdoor market.
Yeah.
It's just
Miss
after
these
2
things.
years of all this, it's good to think about.
Yeah. And we all have more gifts than we can carry. So be sure you share your gifts.
Exactly. And prepare for the positive change.
Yeah.
You've been working towards something. It's time for a culmination here, not necessarily immediately, but sometime within the next 6 months, based on your actions between now and the next 2 weeks, there's going to be some change that you're probably going to look back on.
Right.
And hopefully a really positive change in everybody's lives.
Hopefully it's infused with spirit.
Infused with
And it
spirit.
comes
Yeah.
from the source. All of this is happening with this beautiful Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. And when that hit on Tuesday, it was a degree sooner at the symbolism of a medium giving a seance. And it was just like, wow, doubled up, tripled up. Pisces, Neptune, Jupiter, seance. It's just like,
and just for fun, what's the degree on the 30th?
I will have to step away for a second and look it up.
Yeah, I don't know what it's supposed to with it. I think it's the 26th degree, but I'm not positive.
Let me find out what 26 degrees is. Maybe in like 10 years, I'll have them all memorized.
That's a lot to memorize. There's 360 degrees.
Oh, it's either one of two moon things. It's either a new moon reveals that it is time for people to go ahead with their different projects.
There we go. Love that. Here we go. Time to move ahead.
Or a harvest moon illuminates the sky. I think we'll go with the new moon. I think it's going to be.
It's going to be a new moon in 2 weeks. So yeah.
A new moon reveals that it's time for people to go ahead with their different projects.
That's right. And that's what the rest of the symbolism points to. And that going ahead will result in some looking back that we'll do in 6 months, and we'll go, yeah, that's when the change was made.
That's when the change happened.
That's when that beautiful.
That's when Uranus helped carry all my bags.
That's right. That's right. Well, I love it.
I love it too.
You guys make a beautiful change in your life and look forward to new happenings.
Yeah, dream big. Share your gifts because you're carrying too many of them. Get them out there into the market.
Get them out there. Get them into the market. Share. Exactly. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.